the only podcast that eats more babies than dingoes in every year of the 2000s. It's Whacked Out Wrestling. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Whacked Out Wrestling, and we're doing another bonus alternate commentary this week. And we figured with all the news on this one, we were going to give you a typical show of the Australian pay-per-view that everybody's talking about, featuring Triple H in the main event. I speak, of course, of Global Warming 2002, or Global Warning 2002. This was the first Australian pay-per-view that was made 16 years ago in WWE, and the last time they had a pay-per-view event in Melbourne. It later ended up as in the discount bin of every FYE in the country. But before I go with this one, I have a lot of guests on this one. First off, since this is a Ruthless Aggression era pay-per-view, I didn't want to step on the toes of the Ruthless Aggression era podcast, so we just invited Metal Matt, the host of that podcast, to us today.
Oh.
We also have the OG of Who's Whacked Out Wrestling in Prince Moxley Lopez, my producer and glue guy in John Roche, and making his Whacked Out Wrestling debut, Wayne from some cage side seats.
Good evening from the beautiful Bay Area. How's everyone doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
So when this goes in, it's going to start, and I'll have it go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
Presented by Xbox.
Yep.
Yep.
And how many of us are watching on our Xbox One? Raise your hand. I am.
I am as
so
well.
2 generations later.
Roku TV.
Okay.
Decent enough
Full
stage.
disclosure.
Pyros.
I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Seems like a smaller stage than it was at Super Showdown, but
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
it also has the problem that they didn't have any actual Australians at the time. I believe Nathan Jones wasn't until 2003, so
Nah, he wasn't there at that time. He was still in WWE, I think.
Aw, shucks.
and that's
Yeah,
really interesting that it
I'm
might
really
have been done as a
disappointed.
counter to WWA doing such good business or vaguely good business. So
Yeah, you can tell this was 2002 just looking at the quality of the video. Oh God, Stephanie McMahon starting off the show.
John, what?
I'm all grown up.
Yeah, she was the commissioner of SmackDown or general manager or whatever.
and it was worse because they made her a baby face.
Yes.
And in retrospect, Stephanie is actually good. It's that unbelievable bitch on this. Great as a magnificent bastard for these ones, and she's just playing out of position when she's a baby face.
Yeah.
Producer, researcher, how many people were in attendance for this show?
This had an attendance of 56,734.
Okay.
So see,
Is this dual branded?
14,000 people who brought the house in by watching 4 old men in a circle jerk for a main event.
Is this dual branded?
No, it's only SmackDown.
This is SmackDown only. Okay. Which is not a problem in 2002, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, though it also
Except
it was
Triple
also
H is involved, but
yeah. Plus, I think this was also before the SmackDown 6 happened, and Benoit and Guerrero probably were on.
A little bit.
yeah, just a little bit before.
I do like the scope of the arena. It looks like a big event.
Yeah, that's a plus of stadium shows, and they should have more of them.
Yeah, this was also apparently their the first time they had even done a show in Australia since 1986. So that's another
Even non-televised period.
Well, the Pro Wrestling Wiki is saying, and I realized you got to take it with a grain of salt, saying it was global warming warning, blah, 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 was the promotion's first visit to Australia since 1986.
Oh, God.
I knew Outback Jack would kill this company.
I'm only annoyed by this because of what we just went through on the Ruthless Aggression podcast.
Yes, that's
But put a little A star on it. Oh.
Yeah.
At least Stephanie's promo was short.
Yeah. That never happened.
Between getting down on this one and making out with her with Rikishi in a dress, Rikishi and Stephanie is the low-key ship that kept going for this era.
And this is when Cole and Taz were getting their chemistry together. I think they turned out to be a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell here it's the beginnings of it. So, especially for Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's one of the pluses where Cole doesn't seem like a good commentator to people because all the things he's good at are things that you don't notice. But Cole usually has pretty good chemistry with anybody he's on.
He does.
So
the crowd is hot for Rikishi. I mean, he was always over. There was just
and as we saw in this one, we have the first match with Rikishi in this one against a team of people who been the trademark gay people on this one. 16 years.
Who doesn't like a big ass? Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm an ass. Like,
16 years later, Dave Meltzer claims this was why they put Peyton Royce and Billy Kay on the match. I just had to make the joke. The devil made me do it. But the next person up is Rico, who it was weird. It was sad because this is, if you wonder about whether NXT works, throughout all of 2001, Rico was considered the hottest prospect OVW had.
Yes, agreed.
And they did that with him. Triple H did
he
the right
He became
thing.
a manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't wrestle all that much. This is probably one of his more high-profile matches that he ever got.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Suave? Are we talking about Rodriguez? What kind of Rico?
Rico Suave. Well,
Suave.
He's dressed like Rico Suave, that's for sure.
Again, it was strange that he did on it because, again, all signs from OVW said he was really good there, so...
he was the only one ever to beat Gemini.
Yeah.
Well, one of the few, rather, but...
Yeah. And John mentions his past on American Gladiators as a very famous contestant there on it, which we've seen could be a good thing, as we saw that Casey Catanzaro's been very good in this Mae Young Classic now by converting from Ninja Warrior, so...
How do I, in words, put hard eyes into emoji? She's so good.
Yes. Well, it would go, their words for hard eyes would go from the level from love to I'd hit it to the I'd hit it so hard whoever pulled me over would become King of England, all the way up to I would crawl a pile of shit just to suck off the last guy who had fucked her.
This escalated quickly. No.
To say the least.
Of course.
Yeah, I didn't see that last one coming.
So is there a storyline that I can't remember about Rikishi's knee?
I think it was basically just... I'm not sure if Rikishi was feuding with Billy and Chuck at the time, but...
Me either. I mean, it seems
he kind of was. Because I know that at Judgment Day that year, Rikishi and Rico ended up winning the titles from Billy and Chuck.
Yeah. So it was probably just a.
So they probably, yeah.
He misses the banzai drop.
But it didn't affect his taped up knee.
Like before, I don't quite remember if this was before and after, or after the whole thing with Rico basically turning heel on Chuck and Billy.
No, it was definitely before, because Rico turned heel when Rico jumped to Raw. So
okay.
I always loved that.
And that was in September.
Yeah.
I always loved that move.
Fair
the step
enough.
over arm drag to the back kick.
Yeah, Rico did that a lot.
Yeah.
I love that move.
Belt in a few different martial arts, so
yeah.
it was likely to use more kicks on it.
Uh-oh.
So it was
Rico
weird.
going up to the top rope. Oh, misses a moonsault.
Oh, what a maneuver! Not so much.
But in that moonsault was very pretty.
Samoan drop. Okay, you're going for the 1, the 2, the 3. He's got it.
And that was
the crowd goes crazy.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent enough match, I guess. A decent opening match, but it wasn't anything special.
Yeah. Well, even beyond that one, the finish coming off of a missed move is kind of weird on it. And you also have the fact that there wasn't that many of Rikishi's trademark spots in it. Like, even if it's a Rikishi match, you expect certain things from a Rikishi match.
And he caught himself on the Samoan drop, or the bonsai drop. Even with that, now he just kicked him, and that leg, that taped up leg, is no problem.
And here's the how we get the
no selling on that.
And it doesn't work when you see in kayfabe, Rico does not want to be a part of this, but you can see him crawling to get to the right spot.
Yeah.
That is just a bad look.
This is to get the crowd hot, though, and they did a good job.
Here we go.
Yeah, look at the crowd. I mean, you barely see this
the stink face. The stink face.
They're Australian. They don't know any better.
Yeah. Well, it did work on this one because remember, Rikishi is a Hall of Famer now, so he did have that. And Rico would go on to be a police officer in Las Vegas, and I believe a couple years ago he had some health problems, but I haven't heard anything since then of them, so not sure if they're still going on or if it's fixed itself. So.
Yeah, I know that at some point he wound up going to All Japan and got the All Asia Tag Team Championships with Bull Buchanan, oddly enough.
What a weird tag team that was.
I mean, it's weird to us, but in All Japan they didn't know them from Adam, so
Yeah. Looking back though, that's just such a weird combination.
Fun fact on the kid, it was a random appearance and the first appearance for an Australian in a pay-per-view. Also, fun fact for the kid, he is larger than Buddy Murphy.
And he grew up to be the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Green hair.
So, do you have a problem with people with green hair? Just asking for a friend.
I had green hair. I went through the Green Day era. And I did have green hair during that time.
Big Daddy's spot does work for it. Which works because how short that match was. The match was probably easy.
Guess what's the Big Daddy spot?
Big Daddy was Shirley
The
trying
kid on the left got some moves. The kid on the right is just not having it.
Noted for carrying a kid to the ring and holding them aloft before his matches. So.
Okay. Yeah, I heard of the wrestler Big Daddy, but I didn't know if that was the thing that he did.
The kid on the right just has no moves. The kid on the left is all about it. He's got some groove. The kid on the right is just robotic.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite of the Super Bowl. Right shark.
Well, if you think it's not on the right in their dance skills, look at the Iconics dancing every week on this one. We have a good sample size to say Australian people can't dance.
I don't think that's a problem to think about.
What was that about saying that the Icons can't dance?
Yeah, now they're in the northern hemisphere, so like everything, like it's all backwards. They're learning. Come on now.
The next match, so
this was the best they ever made out of Nydia.
It's a King of the Ring 2002 rematch.
and we get random showing of Jamie Noble and Nydia surfing on this one because that's
being quote unquote right
from
white
trailer
trash
in the WWE. Of course, they know how to surf.
Jamie Noble, boy, you like that boy? You like that boy?
Oh, good lord!
Excuse my Nydia. We're not like that any old way.
Well, everything was good with Nydia as long as she wasn't in the ring.
It was actually weird that they didn't do more with Nydia even in the ring because, yeah, she wasn't that good, but it was 2002 to 2004. It's not like there was that many really good workers on it, and the fact she was a tough enough kid meant that she probably at least she'd be better than this.
She should have learned. I mean, this is 2002, and I think I was at No Way Out 2004 in San Francisco, and I believe it was her versus him in a blindfold match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right, because they're doing an angle on SmackDown right now in 2004 where Jamie Noble was using blind Nydia to help him win matches.
And one of these days we might be talking about Birdie Bella being a good wrestler.
Oh no!
I went there.
Oh.
And she's still stuck on the board. Oh, Jamie Noble's doing respectable.
Yeah.
Till he sank.
Yeah. It's one of those many 2000s segments that you go with it random, but you'd think they would think of better people to send for the surfing segment. The two trailer trash people.
As someone from California, this is pretty brutal to watch.
Yeah. As someone from Rhode Island, I can see it's very brutal to watch as well. So. But I suppose even the people from the Midwest could probably say that it's that.
Yep. Remember when WCW tried to make him an Asian masked superstar?
Well, at the very least, you can at least expect being an Asian masked superstar is a traditional thing of masked people who aren't really Asian or Mexican. But masked people's
a lot of them did it, yeah. I mean, Jericho, Benoit, Daniel Bryan.
Paul Diamond.
Yeah.
Mark Rocco.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing
Jamie Noble.
Plus, at the very least, it was the benefit where even if you'd use a stupid gimmick on that one, Jamie Noble was good enough that he was the type of guy you find a spot for him anyway.
Yeah, no, they did.
Yeah.
He was great as cruiserweight champion at this time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was interesting.
He had a gimmick that worked.
I believe he was the first of the WCW 24 didn't show up in the invasion. They make it to WWE, so that was a pretty interesting fact as well. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. So far, so good.
Finally, the video package ended.
Yeah, that was a long one.
yeah, because who wants to see a wrestler like Jamie Noble and the Hurricane wrestle a match? We want to see him surfing badly.
So the Hurricane nowadays, I met him at an all-pro wrestling, indie wrestling show, and he wears his own belt, like the Hurricane World Champion, whatever he calls it. But he wouldn't let me hold the belt, whereas Jeff Cobb let me hold the APW Universal World Title. I don't know. That's my Hurricane story.
We're talking about wrestling here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bad joke.
Jeff Cobb was the nicest guy ever. Hurricane, not so much.
I met Jeff Cobb. It's probably been 4 years ago now. Dude, so nice.
And
so nice. I mean, we talked for like 15 minutes.
Brink, whenever you hear something incredibly misogynistic that doesn't come from us, them saying because she's dating Jamie Noble, Nadia would take on every guy in the arena. The women's revolution could not have come fast enough.
Where's the superhero in training?
This was before.
I know.
Debuted, so
I think this was before even 3-minute warning.
Yeah.
No, I think that started around the same time, like shortly after Bischoff.
But it was on
became
Raw,
GM.
so yeah.
Yeah, that too.
I think they were just starting out at this time.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rosie, of course.
Yeah.
And Jamal, while we're at it.
And Jamal,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Jamal and Rosie would be one of the lightest, best gimmicks for the Afterlife Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Do you use them as singles acts or as a tag team?
And Hurricane Helms hopes to regain the gold here tonight at Global One.
Well, fun fact, since this is in the Eastern Hemisphere, they had to name him Typhoon Helms for the show, so...
And an eye poke
Helms.
by the Hurricane Helms. And Hurricane working over the knee in the corner.
Yep.
It's also long before the Hurricane would defeat The Rock.
And Hurricane going for the choke slam, but Jamie Noble reverses it. Oh, and a super kick. Super kick city right there. The super kick party. Down,
What
down,
a maneuver.
down, down,
What
down.
a maneuver. Disqualify him, ref. Disqualify him.
And Hurricane going for the
That's my
top, going
Vincent
some high risk. Oh, and the flying crossbody to the outside.
Can we all raise our hands if Matt
No
could
means no.
do commentary on live shows, big or small, if he could just be commentary, because he's so good.
And Hurricane being made out with Nydia. Fun fact, the Hurricane and Nydia were once boyfriend and girlfriend. And now Jamie Noble putting the boots to the Hurricane Helms. Jamie Noble getting the advantage here with
He's
a
like,
step
he's
suplex.
like Joey Styles. He doesn't need any color commentary.
Yeah, one man booth. He's straight one man booth, and he can do color commentary, play by play. Just give.
Oh my
anybody.
God!
Torah elimination. Oh.
Cat fight! Cat fight! And Jimmy Noble with a rest hold on the Hurricane. Trying to wear down the superhero.
It's not called a rest hold.
Yeah. Don't and here, Hurricane actually gets the red button, so he can fight out of it. So
have you guys not heard, like, all of a sudden, like a backbreaker or a squeeze hold, like it allows your opponent to rest, like.
Jeremy Noble going for some mid-match sugar right here and down, under, and global warning. A Hurricane versus an inside cradle for a 2 count.
What? I'd love for the Hurricane to hit a vertebreaker. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing with Shane Helms. Shane Helms may be the only wrestler who didn't get over because of the moves he did, but because of the moves that everyone knew he did.
Yep. It's true.
Yeah, and we're getting to a different generation, but we're getting to the point where we know, because we've seen it before, we know you can do things that you're not doing.
Yep. And at the show I talked about, he would tease it, but you knew he wasn't going to hit it because they're never going to use that move again. But unless there's some indie promotion that will allow it, I don't know. But
well, it is the cop killer, so.
Wait, does he have green hair too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. At this time, he did.
Wow, this is Australia's all kind of green hair right now.
And now Jeremy Noble with the simple hold on the Hurricane.
Also,
Mr. Helms is
from the WCW tour in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
He also apparently did a lot of PCP with Juventud Guerrera on the same show.
I'm not surprised. The Hoovy juice. That's the Hoovy juice right there.
I have it on good authority that he's not the only person on this card tonight who has a move that everyone knew that he could do, but he never did up to that point in WWE.
Yeah, but if you're talking about Brock Lesnar, then at least with that one, everybody knew he could do the shooting star press, but then he did it at WrestleMania 19 and nearly killed himself, so that also shows the lesson. Maybe there's a reason they don't do the move.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, if you go back to some old OVW, like, he's hit it so many times, and then you get, quote unquote, the grandest stage of them all.
Well, and how far away Kurt Angle was.
Yeah, that was
it was just, it was just an unfortunate series of how everything came together. Event. Like,
yeah.
Kurt Angle's way too far to the other corner. Like, maybe Kurt was thinking it was going to come off the near corner.
Mm-hmm.
No, Brock's going to go from the far corner.
Yeah.
But we've all seen the videos and stuff of Brock.
The buff blockbuster.
Yeah, and that video was the weird thing because in OVW, all signs say that Brock Lesnar was doing a picture-perfect shooting star, so.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I don't give Brock a pass for much. I'll give him a pass because like how he came out of that without a broken neck, freaking neck. Sorry, at the same time, Kurt Angle.
And Kurt Angle had pretty much.
Does he even have a neck?
That match.
That's it. John with the line of the night. Does he even have a freaking neck? Like, I assume he does. I don't know.
There's a reason I scouted the guy, so it's because he can pull out great lines like that. So,
but it was just.
See, now he's calling for the vertebreaker. Everyone knows it.
Well, in defense, if he was going to pull off the vertebreaker on anyone, Jamie Noble would be one of the guys who could do it.
Yes, well, he's taken
Like, for
it
instance,
before.
AJ Styles got his indie credibility because he was the first guy to take the vertebrae.
Picture perfect Northern Lights.
Have any of you guys seen it was pretty much an indie promotion, like there might have been 100 people there, but where dude gives a reverse from the top rope suplex into a Styles Clash happened like 2 weeks ago.
Honestly, I try to go on low, super indie-ish indie spots diet, so...
I just happened to see it because like everybody was talking about it. Shoot, it wasn't MLW. It was like a very small promotion. I'll see if I can get you guys the link.
Yeah.
But he goes from like the whole thing's crazy, and it ends up with him from the top rope giving a Styles Clash.
The one version of that move that sticks in my head was the one he did on Kazarian back in, I think, 2002, 2003.
Kazarian didn't
Yeah.
elevate his head. He tucked his head.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really the thing on it where AJ Styles' has run outside of TNA and in between has made it clear that everybody knows the rule. If you don't tuck your head in the Styles Clash, you'll take it just fine. You tuck your head, you will die.
That was a great cruiserweight match.
Yeah.
I mean, the two guys, they worked together for a long time. Like, for a long time, they knew each other, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing where you can have a good match because they know each other's style. They
and
can play off
the heel to win with that, with the distraction and then the roll up, perfect. Or the crucifix.
And let the record show that in this storyline, you've got the superhero performer who is still willing to throw hands to a woman solely because she rejected him. Again, the women's revolution was a long time coming.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a lot. I mean, there was a lot of male-woman interaction back at this time.
Yeah. And there could be...
And like that, look, he just spanked her.
Interaction now, but...
Yeah.
That was just... But a lot of these things are just cringy to watch even now. And even in context, they were cringier.
Can we... And okay, I'll
this
be...
This is what I'm talking about here.
If people don't agree with it, I mean, however you want. Can we agree, like, the women's... and I'm using quotes here, air quotes like Wayne did earlier. This shit started long ago. It did not start with WWE. Like, there's, for a while now, like, yes, like, WWE, WWF is the most popular, the most viewed. But there's been good female wrestling for a long time outside of what they're calling, historical, first time ever.
Yeah, like, I mean, WWE, they basically operate on the assumption that they are wrestling. Like,
well, it's not even just those ones, because there was a lot of good indie wrestling and a lot of women who came from the indie scene. It's just that WWE's made the narrative that wrestling was worthless until Trish and Lita were really good for a couple of years. But when they retired, they became worthless again. Then Stephanie McMahon invented women.
See, and this is, and I'm not being a WWE apologist here. No, I'm not going to throw out statistics because I don't have facts to back that up. But if you think wrestling and you're not like we are, that we know there's not just one promotion in the United States, but there's promotions throughout the world.
Yeah.
If you think wrestling, the majority has to be, you think, WWE.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how back in the day when you thought video games, you thought Nintendo. And
Yeah. But there is also a case where
I was Atari myself, but yes, even before.
Well, it's also what I'd say on it is the fact that it's not just the fact that you think wrestling, you think WWE, but saying on par of it, if you're saying wrestling without considering WWE as well, is like saying soda and ignoring Coke and Pepsi. Yes, there's also a lot of them out there, but it's still the biggest one, and it is primarily what people think of wrestling.
Yeah, it's a third time's the charm. It's a generalization of this is what this is, when it's not very factual. It's just what the majority knows.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, it's also the fact that a lot of it can go through. Like, Joshi's always been very good in Japan, but a lot of the big Joshi promotions were closing in the 2000s.
Yes.
There was Shimmer and doing well in the 2000s for indie wrestling, but it was still a very niche market. Even TNA, which tried to bring good indie women's wrestling national in 2007, if you look at the ratings from that time period, they did not care about classic women's storylines like Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong, and were watching by and large because they thought this was the week that Velvet Sky would take her top off.
I know what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. But when WWE puts out, the first ever woman's pay-per-view, like, and people take that as a truity of like that. Oh, there's never been a first ever. You have first women, or you have women only promotions, and they've had, and how people. I don't want to say people. I don't want to be umbrella like that. How it comes across in a certain sense. If I'm making any sense, like,
yeah.
Oh, WWE did it first. What you don't really know, and I hate saying this. I hate it with passion. You don't really know what you're talking about if you think like there's never been an all-female.
Meanwhile, we are seeing a Raw versus SmackDown matchup because this happened shortly after the Un-Americans jumped off. So naturally, they wrestle not in Australia, which is not America. And also because these are the evil heels who hate America and everything they stand for, we get a whole segment of them riding motorcycles, playing with boomerangs, and going to visit koalas with Kurt Angle, the American hero.
Sorry.
This is one hell of a team. I love these two, and I love...
Well, I mean, you had the All-American American and Jack Swagger. They could have done Kurt Angle as the Un-American American.
Yeah.
Was Jack Swagger there in 2002?
Yeah, he wasn't there till 2008. So.
Right.
And we have Billy Kidman before he changed his theme from random guitar rock to rap about how he planned to rape women while he slept. So.
Oh, good grief.
The hell?
Which also does help on this one.
He had a feud with Hulk Hogan, though.
So. So that makes it better?
His claim to fame, baby.
Well, we've already seen what Hulk Hogan does when he's sleeping with women. We don't need to add what Billy Kidman does from his theme song.
It's Rey Mysterio.
The man who will make his return at SmackDown 1000.
Yeah, honestly, it's a shock that they didn't have him return at Super Showdown on this one.
No, he'll show up at Crown Jewel as a surprise. They announced tonight that
He'll actually show up at Crown Jewel. I'd kind of assume that the fact between the masked wrestler and the fact he used the cross in his mask, and that was really unpopular in Saudi Arabia last show.
Very true. I mean, that's not. I mean, the fact that Sami Zayn can't wrestle there is what tells you all of that right there.
It's not that Sami Zayn can't wrestle there; he chooses not to.
Yeah, it's that he's a Syrian national.
It's safer for him not to.
Yeah,
he chooses not to. It's not like WWE telling him you can't wrestle here.
These are still the best tag team belts, and I wish they still had him back. Just have to say that.
Yes.
Can we get some differences in all of men roster belts?
I know, right? Just to differentiate them at
Right.
least. Here,
I mean, they're different colors. Surely that counts for something.
No, I was gonna
during this brand, but at least it was WWE Tag Team and World Tag Team. Like there was a little difference there.
John beat me to the punch, but that's like okay, there's a different strap on. Shut up, Wayne.
You had the case where the World Tag Team was the traditional tag team belt, so it should have been the WWE belt, and the WWE tag belt was the SmackDown tag belt. So you'd think you'd give the WWE tag belt to Raw and the World tag belt or whatever to SmackDown.
And it's scheduled for one fall, and it is for the World Tag Team titles. So Kim and Storm starting it off.
Matt's had some caffeine.
the MM, the Fink. Scheduled for one fall.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and there will be no.
I wasn't the only one that did that. Like different, like the faceplate, like somehow, it's not.
Well, honestly, I think that the fact that they look so much alike actually helps things because it makes it clear they're equal to each other. And on paper, even if people think one title's better, both titles are supposed to be comparable to each other. And that works by the men's and women's titles work. It's so you're supposed to see, yeah, they're all equal. And for the tag belts, they both look alike.
If they trigger them,
coming right out of the gate.
I know Matt has a very special fondness of Lance Storm because of who he trained.
Yep.
He's actually trained quite a few women wrestlers that have become superstars.
Yeah. Well,
I can't think of one or a duo or
Lance Storm on this one. Why is he not going for the opposing team? They have Billy Kay working for them on the opposing one, teaming with Rey Mysterio.
Is that Billy Kay? Oh, Billy Kay. Okay, Billy Kay.
I thought he said the same thing.
Yes, that's one of the problems when a pun doesn't work when you're saying it, so.
Billy Kay, Billy Kid. They're all the same.
Yeah. And as we said earlier, as per Dave Meltzer, he claims that Peyton Royce worked the first match against Rico, so.
That was brutal.
When did?
Oh! Well, that was nasty. That was nasty.
Nasty Boy Returnament, intimate.
Mm-hmm.
He did not land right on that, or he was not thrown up right.
This was back in the time when it's going to be interesting how Ray does because he looked really good in the last few years when he wasn't working a WWE schedule.
Yeah.
By the time he left WWE, his knees were so to the point he couldn't wrestle a match without getting injured. So. It's interesting to see why they take him back or why you go back if that's the case. I mean, he is Rey Mysterio, so he always matters on those ones, but might not be the right decision.
Well, look at the Hardys. I mean, they were they were fine. And all of a sudden, Matt's retired, and Jeff looks hobbled.
At least with Matt, it was basically he was going to have to retire soon anyway.
That's true.
It's that fused to his buttons. He
was always pretty bow-legged, as it was.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, at the very least, you could buy taking that risk for your WWE because Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy, and you'll always have a reaction. And Matt Hardy was such that even if he couldn't wrestle anymore, he'd be a good manager.
The biggest pop of the night from 33 was New Day. Oh, because there was a segment of the audience like, oh, we're gonna include ourselves into the tag team match. Nope. And you put old school Hardy Boys music on. That was the loudest pop of the night.
Yeah.
People lost their shit.
Yeah, and that's really the point because even if the hardcore fans wanted the broken groove for it, those casual fans didn't watch TNA in 2005, so they only knew him as Team Extreme, and Team Extreme's always going to have fans. They just always will.
Double team by Christian and Lance Storm. And Mysterio whipped up the ropes. And Mysterio is
in my head, I'm going to replay that as a double team on Christian Leitner. I know what they said.
Yeah. In me and John's head, we're playing it as a double team on Chris Chan, so it works there.
Oh, good lord.
Well, that's true. Most guys are not cool, but I'm not going to isn't that anything to say that you just love me, you stop. But it's an alcohol with a 4 around his ball on the skin of beautiful submission over. He's a comedian in Colorado.
Somehow this went to like a Sid Vicious promo.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, the fact that none of us are talking on it does say that this was a very good match. So that's a plus. And to be said,
I thought Matt was giving us the play-by-play.
Like Kidman and Ray.
You missed that big spinning heel kick.
Like Kidman and Ray were one of the best teams that really never were on it, and Christian and Storm were very good on that one. So it didn't work with his theme song changing to Christian, at last you're with Lance Storm.
Lance Storm. I just remember him getting the boring treatment from Stone Cold.
Yeah, which is honestly the weird thing on it because Storm, when he came to WCW, it wasn't a hot take to say he was the best of the WCW 24.
Oh.
And it's also not that much of a hot take to say if WCW lived, Lance Storm's probably a world champion.
Yeah. He was the Canadian heavyweight champion, the 100 kilos and under champion.
The Saskatchewan Hardcore International title champion.
Thank you.
Yeah,
at the same time.
With his talent, he probably would have been a world champion in WCW in 2001. And
he was a major star in ECW.
Yeah.
Without being a supremely hardcore style champion, was a great wrestler.
Yeah, and also
kind of how Jericho and Malenko and those others made their name there. Without being super hardcore, they just were great technical wrestlers.
But even then, it's more notable with Lance Storm because Storm was the exact opposite of ECW. Like the fact that Storm couldn't throw a chair shot to save his life.
Yeah.
How do you go as Storm, like as like complete opposite of what ECW was trying to do.
Again, because ECW was all about hardcore, and like I said, Storm was notoriously bad at throwing weaponry, which is such
he still made it work.
But he also had great teams with the Triple Threat and with the Impact players. So
but even Impact players also partially a smoke and mirrors job, where Storm did it well because he helped make people believe for one brief shining moment Just Incredible was a valuable part of the ECW roster.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, come
Got him a
on.
world
Storm and
title
Christian
run.
just stole a victory.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say that Just Incredible was not?
Just Incredible was basically the guy that ECW gave the title to, with Paul Heyman literally saying, "You took Taz, you took Mike Awesome. I dare you to take this guy. Do it. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees, man. Take Credible." And
well, they already had it as the Portuguese
My reply
man
was
war,
like
Aldo
dripping
Montoya.
sarcasm.
The Portuguese man of war, Aldo Montoya.
I'll hot take. That was a better gimmick than Just Incredible. I remember that wrestling mags were saying,
Man, that's a hot take if I ever heard one.
Well, hear me out. I remember some wrestling mags, or the after mags, saying Aldo Montoya was wrestling's Power Ranger. In 1994, a wrestling Power Ranger would have been so much funny.
It was hot. It was hot, but he just never won anything. So
it's funny
he was
that
just
you bring up
He was the most memorable wrestling Power Ranger.
See,
That's the
John
only
with
one.
the win. John with the win. Because that was a. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, and I'll see if I'm going to say. Go ahead.
MVP.
Right, Tori and Billy. How did Tori end up with Billy Kidman? I still never will understand that one.
More than likely because Billy Kidman was a very good man who listened to her and treated her like a human being. And also because that guy must have one he uses for a baseball bat.
Because Tori, and everyone knows I'm not into women, but she is the hottest woman that was ever around during this time for sure.
I blame Al.
Yep.
Al. He fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, look at all the Aussie boots in the back. All the what are they called? Uggs. Yep, Uggs in the background.
It's surprising that they would have all these boots, and yet they didn't have Rico boot Rikishi in the ass. But do they care about Australian culture?
Just a little kick in the bum.
Yep.
If anyone gets that reference, I'm thankful
Yes.
for you.
I think we all get it, so.
Yeah.
That's so great on so many levels.
Yeah.
Just a little kick in the bum.
So much more use for these things. I mean, wouldn't you want to see Buddy Murphy or the Iconics brandishing a spoon to attack people with on WWE TV?
That's kind of a overall question. Like, okay, yes, I'd like the Iconics and Buddy Murphy on my TV. So,
Yeah,
Well,
but
it comes down to whether the rest of the rosters ever played Knifey Spoony.
of course.
oh,
I see you
That's
played
none of my
Knifey
business.
Spoony before.
yeah, that's none of my business.
That makes me feel alive in my life, so I'm really nervous about that. But people tell me that it's a little less nerve-wracking than it's all kind of fun.
I'm just going to assume that us talking over it has gone over.
Well, no, it's still going on these ones.
I know it's still going, but I'm just going to assume like
Well, it's
us talking over it has gone better than.
Well, usually it just works with the director's commentary to see through what goes for it. And for the next match, we have Chris Jericho and Edge going straight from the blonde who take her shirt off the next year to two blondes taking their shirt off today.
And Chris Jericho, the self-proclaimed king of the world, coming out to the ring to face off against Edge.
Yep. And you have Jericho growing his hair and his beard, which he later said he did as part of a bet with Scott Ian to see how long they could get before people would notice. So.
Even in 2002, like different times.
Yeah. From these ones, it's actually kind of interesting to notice the crowd because the acoustics were very good last night at Super Showdown, but they weren't that good for this show. Perhaps it's actually proof that WWE is doing better than you think they were.
I think that's more proof of that the acoustics and stuff have improved.
Yeah. Is this the same venue?
No, Global Warning was in Colonial Stadium, and Super Showdown was in the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Okay.
Yeah. No sense.
That's probably why the acoustics were better at Super Showdown. They love cricket. They love their cricket down there.
Apparently, if there's 100,000 seat freaking cricket stadium.
I saw somewhere on Twitter that their biggest crowd in their stadium was like 121,000, 31,000, whatever. So WWE did not break a record. Like, they love touting the. They running them close. But at the same time, and like I said about 15 minutes ago, I'll turn heel.
Yeah.
Who the hell watches cricket?
Hey, if you think about it, we in America watch cricket where you have to run around bases during it happens. So
there's a big difference between baseball and cricket.
Oh yeah, but to answer your question, people in Australia, people in England, people in India, people in the West Indies.
Yeah,
he's just gonna throw me under country after country.
Basically, again, he's the glue guy. He's the researcher. He can do those things. So
I know who watches cricket. I have people, friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes.
Man, this Edge ever over here. Edge is so over right now.
Yeah, honestly,
funny.
This is the one question I think. If Edge didn't get his broken neck in 2003-04, do you think he would have won the world title in 2003 or 2004?
It's very possible.
So. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes one of the fastest rising stars here.
Instead of JBL or John Cena.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's viable that you could do it. Yeah. The only weakness is the fact that Edge really clicked as a heel once the Matt Hardy Lita love triangle.
He was great as a heel. Here he's a face though, but he's still over as anything.
Yeah, isn't this like a while after he won the tag titles with Hogan?
The Un-Americans were the tag champs here, and I believe he won the titles from them. So.
Yeah,
later. Yeah, it was later.
Yeah.
Because it was closer to WrestleMania 19 than 18.
Yeah. But at the same time, Edge was insanely over at this time.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this match is so very personal. Edge out of action for a couple months due to Jericho injuring Edge's shoulder. This rivalry has been very personal for quite a while now, and it's set to blow up here in Melbourne, Australia.
All right, Vince McMetal Matt.
At least we're not dealing with angry Vince.
And Cowboys are going to overtime.
Oh my goodness, really?
16-16.
And Edge getting some material for his YouTube vlog.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that works, though. It does give an example for why Edge would ally with Hawkins and Ryder, so.
if we're gonna go overall opinion on Edge, if that wouldn't have happened, and yes, he did go a little further until other things happened,
Mhm.
there would be an argument that could be made, at least in my opinion. Edge could have been GOAT. Like, no, like, hands down, he could have been greatest of all time.
Well,
He's
yeah,
still, like,
even with his injuries on it, it was actually kind of weird because just from the injuries that he did have, everybody was looking in the 2000s for who's going to be the next Shawn Michaels, who's going to be the next Shawn Michaels. But secretly, if you think about it, Edge kind of was that.
yeah, he was, and later here lately in 2012, whatever, like one stuff broke away from the Spirit Squad. Like, oh, he's gonna replace Shawn Michaels. Like, nope, we already had that. We have that.
Mm-hmm.
If accidents didn't happen, and if and it's always a capital I, capital F.
Yeah.
I'm not so certain that Edge, because it's even with what happened, like, he's still up there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if things didn't happen the way they did,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, but there's also
Edge-
where Edge probably could have, if things didn't happen the way they did in 2003, there's a chance Edge does better on it, because if you do that, then he likely only has one neck injury for the second one, and even if it had spinal stenosis, we're seeing that Sheamus has developed a way to work that he can still work on it, and it hasn't ended his career just yet. So it's not unfathomable that even if Edge isn't a full timer, he at least could possibly have a match now and then. He could be in Saudi Arabia or Australia or WrestleMania, but not be completely out of it.
right, exactly, kind of my point. Like, basically what they're doing now with Sheamus and Cesaro, like, you can, if you
And Edge
read,
has no time for Jericho's BS.
Well, it's still surprising on this one. It's weird for this era when you hear someone say bitch and people aren't automatically saying greatest promo of all time. They're the new Stone Cold Steve Austin.
because that's the word, that's the only word they use.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they use on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Roman's done it. Becky's done it. That's the word you can use on USA. I mean, they could use any word, but that's the word they choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all reliable is calling somebody else a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like
honestly, you'd think that they would do other things. I mean, they just brought Bobby Lashley back. They should have people who could call people bastard more often. Like, Roman, you're a bastard. Ziggler, you're a bastard. Jason Jordan, you're a bastard. Why, yes, I am, Bobby. Nice to meet you. Oh, God.
And your mama said so.
Do we love Bobby?
Well, at least in Jason Jordan, even if it was those ones, considering his whole character was that he was a bastard, literally, it would have worked there, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
Big Show is also one, according to the Big Boss Man.
Matt with the win on that one.
Yeah.
But
Well, he also played that bastard on an episode of Raw in 2000, or SmackDown in 2000, so he was that one as well, so.
That's what
Can't you see I'm just having a wee bit of fun?
But it seems like the word bitch is male or female. Like, that's how the crowd gets riled up. And
Mm-hmm.
Like it's how you know that it's serious business, I guess, is now
Yeah.
it is now.
Yeah.
But it's been overused so much. Like, okay, we've heard this from Cena, we've heard this from The Rock, just in the past few years.
Yeah.
Becky calling Charlotte bitch. Like, kind of. Do you guys agree? Like, it loses its luster.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Okay, we've heard this before,
Mhm.
and they have to say they can't. And a word I never say.
Yeah.
They can't go from bitch to the extremity.
Yeah.
But they could do something, then have Becky walk away and turn back around and say, bitch. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, but even then, why not use trump cards for it? If someone does go with it, just say, "No, I'm not a bitch. UNITY."
I didn't understand what just happened.
And they're talking about the cab drivers. I don't think there's more of a rest hold than talking about cab drivers during a hold.
Huh?
Well, it's what they're talking about on this one. While Jericho has Edge in the rest hold, known as force him into a Jesus Christ pose.
Jesus Christ pose.
Don't worry about it. He's just resting. He's just resting.
SmackDown, and he's also the current SmackDown. Oh, schoolboy! He got it!
I almost went for a spear, but schoolboy pin for a 2 count.
So it does go with the same question. Why did they call the move that with the guy cupping a guy's balls and taking him down the schoolboy?
Maybe they were more informed than we are. What was happening?
Mm-hmm.
The schoolboy move is always. How did that name come about?
Apparently, judging by how the move is portrayed, it was named in the European scene by the famous wrestler Jimmy Savile. That's one of the pluses. Always have the lines that when you get it, you're gonna groan badly.
It's in professional wrestling, such a weird name to call a move. You got him with the schoolboy, like.
Well, if you consider the fact that they named after the greatest in-ring wrestler of all time and greatest shooter of all time, and they chose to honor him by naming the move that's commonly called the dick to the mouth, that pretty much says that it's a weird sport.
Well, yeah, like that's if they chose to recognize that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of anything else the Luthez press could look like? So.
See, therein lies the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And referee Brian Hebner, administrative count. He's the 6 full minutes step down. Chris Jericho in extreme pain. That's it.
I swear, I know it's not, but I swear a few of the times he's called the match. That sounds like Vince calling the match.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's usually the problem on this one. Like, with Beast of the East, Cole had a great call because he knew it wasn't Vince calling it. So
And head on Vince on you won.
yeah,
But he had his flaws calling match, but at the same time, he had more better moments versus more bad calls.
yeah, but it was Edge's success on this one seemed more like people always expected that the next Shawn Michaels was going to be a high flyer and probably someone who was funny on the mic. Like, people were more likely to claim Christian was going to be next Shawn than Edge, which was viable, but still pretty weird if you think about it.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to be in the minority here. Sean wasn't really good on, and we're talking about early stages. He wasn't really good on the mic, at all.
Yeah,
At all.
Yeah, because he was great in the ring, but there's no nice way to put it. He had the gimmick of a male prostitute.
In
And
my opinion, and
Hey, come on. He's just a sexy boy. He's not your boy toy.
yes, he was the boy toy of Jose Lothario. He had this guy in heart-shaped sunglasses and a white vest with chains on it, dancing around with a old Hispanic man for some reason.
Spare!
It got so stale so quickly
Yeah,
that people in New York City were clamoring that if Psycho Sid didn't win the world title, they were gonna burn the arena down.
yeah.
hey,
And that's
I don't care what you say. I have half the brain you do, and I will.
Yes, that same guy is the one they wanted to win the title. Because
Well, the skeptic. Sorry, let me do it again. Well, all right, pal.
We're live. Yeah, damn it, you beat me to the punch. We're live, pal.
yeah, but that
Edge is another spear on Jericho.
It was basically, if Shawn Michaels is your third best guy on your roster, you have an amazing show. If it's your second best guy, you're still pretty good. If he's your best guy, you are fucked.
I'll go ahead and say this. Bret Hart wasn't that great of a promo.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but that's also the same thing. We're both
Yeah.
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were each about half of a guy you'd want as your ace. And that was basically the problem.
It took him like once Bret Hart was in the heel Hart Foundation at the end, like his promo in the wheelchair. Oh my god, that's when he was just solid gold.
Yeah,
but
even then, Bret was one of those guys where part of the Bret Hart experience was that you knew he couldn't cut a promo. With Shawn Michaels, it was always like you were supposed to think this guy was a good promo.
Yeah.
And damn it. Oh, good grief. If I had to pick a top three, I already said my top two. But damn it. Sting was not that good of a promo.
Well, yeah, and that's really the weird thing on it because promos, it's the same problem where the only guy who felt like a good promo who was just talking to you, not talking at you, and Edge gets the win.
On a roll up.
Well, this match was Roll Up City for Australia.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign that this is house show.
Uh-huh.
But back to the thing on it, it was weird that most of those guys use they talk to you instead of talk at you. And in wrestling, the only good promo who talked to you instead of at you was Arn Anderson. So.
Huh. Well, he's one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Arn and And Ric Flair gets so much credit for being such a great promo. Most of Ric Flair's best promos, he was bouncing off of Arn.
Yeah, but I mean that's just how it goes. But he was the main event.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Arn Anderson wouldn't have been Ric Flair. Wouldn't have been a world champion. Ric Flair had.
No,
That's
obviously not.
Yeah.
The in-ring stuff versus the backstage, the segments, whatever you want to call it.
Well, Arn Anderson was a lot like Jake the Snake, where he would just speak and he would just be like, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna freaking kill you."
Yeah. it was more than even those on it, because
Yeah.
it goes back to all those other ones where most of those guys were okay if you realize they were talking to people, and by and large, the best promos in wrestling are the ones who'll talk at you.
Yeah, exactly. And some of, and I'll blaspheme myself on this one. Some of Jake's best work as a story moving forward, or as a story progressing or starting, and love Damien. Like, I love Jake. Like, absolutely. Roddy Piper Sting's my first and foremost favorite wrestler. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jake, Roddy's my favorite heel of all time, just because at a very small venue.
And that actually does tie into the big reason why it's weird that Shawn Michaels wasn't a good promo, because for most of those of the great promos like Piper, Jake, etc., there was always a corollary to how good a promo are they and how much cocaine did they use before the show happened. And yet, for some reason, Shawn Michaels wasn't part of that.
But excluding that, I don't think it gets him a pass, per se. Shawn Michaels couldn't promo for, like, okay, you can drop your trunks and show a thong on live TV for Christmas. But Shawn Michaels couldn't do what I consider.
Wait, what? Did anyone else hear that?
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what that was.
I thought there was a breaking news update. Breaking news somewhere?
Well, apparently the breaking news from this one is we're seeing fan access for this one and seeing Stacy Keibler hang out with people.
Well, also the Houston Texans have defeated the Dallas Cowboys.
Are they really playing the first Raw game on Xbox?
It is 2002, remember?
Yeah, this is before the Hall of Pain, and Mark Henry's just tapping away.
Wait a minute. Because,
Plus, at least the Raw games were pretty interesting, if only not for the skill of the game on it, but just because they had everyone.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the first Raw game fine. I love
Raw
the second
2.
Raw game.
2 is awesome.
Yeah. They should have the opportunity to throw a box on someone in the current game.
Raw 2 had so much freedom with just so many different aspects.
Dropping boxes on people.
Yeah.
Give me one.
Yeah, if you're going to go with a storyline that has me trying to invade NXT on the grounds of my booker who actually double-crossed me and kept me from my NXT deal, then I should at least get to throw a box on some people. You're going to be batshit insane in some forms of my career. Let us be batshit insane in all forms.
Can I give me 1 second and because yes, it's my wife's birthday and that's how the show started. But at the same time, we had a bet going because she's a Cowboys fan, whatever that's called, and all Houston Texans, and the game just ended, and I won, and I don't know where I'm going with this from here, but we had a bet going. We had a bet go. You can mouth all you want. You lost. So I don't care who has a better record. We had the bet going for this. Your Cowboys suck. Texas. I don't care. Records. Schmeckers. You aren't born in Dallas. I was born in Houston. So.
And the big Valboski making his way to the ring.
Yep. Valboski, of course, being the former porn star who, from his look on this one, apparently has become the lead singer in a
You
UK
better be
cover.
glad it's your birthday.
He's not even trying with his wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Winning's. She's gonna reply back. You won by a field goal. Winning's winning.
Mhm.
Okay. You just wait. Your team is.
Hello, ladies.
Surely you guys can hear her. She is not
Kinda.
happy. Oh, speaking of, hold on 1 second. And knows Matt Wing. She knows SK as well.
Yep.
She
Sorry, I was just listening to Val Venus apparently talk about how he liked going down on Australians on it because he is, of course, Val Venus. And again, the women's evolution could not have come fast enough.
Hello? I'm not gonna...
Taz said it all. This will be a purist dream.
Hello?
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 Hi.
Hello? What do you want me to do with your phone, Dave? The texting's not better.
This is always the problem when the wife or the girlfriend comes in at the worst possible time for them to come in for it. It was almost as bad as similar times on this one where I had finally found a place I could watch wrestling in and watch Raw until the moment that Katie Vick happened. Suddenly I didn't have a place to watch Raw anymore.
Hello?
Oh. Hello?
Moxie.
What?
Yep. And they do talk about the fact that they didn't have women like that, like Stacy Keibler walking around there. We just were 48 hours removed from two Australian women wrestlers in the show, and from 5 years of revolution that started with an Australian women wrestler. So no, there aren't women like Stacy Keibler walking around in Australia.
Well, her legs are long enough that she could reach from here to Australia.
Yeah, but at the same time, let's not hide things on the fact that were Tori and Stacy the two most ineffective, memorable people in history on it. Like, They couldn't work. They couldn't act. They were hot, but that was about it. But
I meant that as a joke. 'Cause,
I know.
damn it. Well, I'm going to need most of you to give my wife grief. It doesn't have to be in life. But yeah. Yeah, they're I don't want to use the words or the word overrated, but they might be looked back upon like more than they were.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It was just a real mixture of the time where, at the very least, WWE served both masters of this time, which helped the women be so good. You had the men's version, which was on Raw. You had the serious women's wrestling match for people who wanted women's wrestling, and on SmackDown you had the matches for the people who, like most of us, believe the most sensual part of the woman is the boobies.
Thank you, Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm. And Lawler was actually on Raw during the time, which makes it even weirder.
Yeah. But he goes into the mind frame of, like, if you don't see Penny and Thong, then what does this match even matter?
Yeah.
What the hell? What? There goes the hair, and Stacey just began to throw me down. Vicious. Yes. I'm looking, but I don't know what to say. I'm just watching. We care no further watches.
And they actually have a headlocks, which is proof they do know a wrestling move. So there's that.
Oh, nice leapfrog.
And I love how amazed Taz and Cole were at that.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I'm just watching how dated this is. Yeah, and it's just weird on this one. Like, I know they had Playboy as playmates at the time, and eventually Tori would be one of them. But it's still strange they don't even use it now. I mean, they had the body issue, but from the news that Charlotte went to ESPN magazine asking on it, that's less WWE trying to show the women as sex symbols and more. She's a Flair, and Flairs love showing people their ass. So.
What?
And Stacey gets the Greco-Roman shirt ripoff to get 1-0. And Tori with the classic hold of the shirt ripoff as well. So. If you think of it as a 2 out of 3 falls match, it becomes easier to take.
Pretty much.
Well, 2 submissions or a stripping.
And the match has spilled over to the outside.
And that is one of the weaknesses of Michael Cole, that you can't tell when he's dripping with sarcasm as much as he can with Kaz.
Oh, Lord.
Actually, in 2002, Michael Cole's not with people in his ear and production and stuff was a lot better than he is now.
Not a pinfall.
Not justifying his commentary here, but just good. Could you imagine this era?
Man, all over the ref. Oh, boy.
And we have the Greco-Roman 3-way move, so.
Oh.
And we have the man says script to his panties.
Oh Lord.
And he gets mocked by two beautiful women, so you know that this referee had a fetish or some sort.
And where did Nydia come from? Nydia from out of nowhere. Double teaming Tori Wilson. Tori Wilson fighting back. Neckbreaker, swinging neckbreaker to Nydia.
And the Greco-Roman pants rip off by Nydia. And Nydia is actually embarrassed by this, which proves that they weren't telling the lie when she was a total freak beforehand.
Can't believe Al didn't make the save during this.
And we have the win. Mercifully, it's over.
Oh goodness.
Unfortunately, I feel like that was not the main event. So I have to go through
This was. I think I need to watch Aja Khan destroy someone to get this out of my
Oh God. It's just getting worse.
Can we call just for evolution's sake? Can we call this the main event and not watch anymore? Asking for a friend.
Yeah. Luckily, there's 37 minutes left, so there's not that much to go. So.
Good grief.
And it's the main event.
Coming up next.
So.
Coming up next is the triple threat for the Undisputed Championship. It's the game. Triple H taking on Brock Lesnar, the next big thing, with Paul Heyman in his corner, taking on the Undisputed Champion, The Rock.
Yep. So at least that does serve it, that at least it was a sorbet to cleanse the palate. And they have a show of people going to dinner for it. Because this was such a house show. People may have joked about the Australia or Saudi Arabia shows being sold shows, but if you look at that card yesterday, that was a good card.
Oh, absolutely.
Far better than this one. It was, if that's a house show nowadays, then the house shows are spectacular.
Wing, if I say Matt, all of a sudden comes like the micro machine guy. Would you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that.
Whoa. Who is listening to things that aren't wrestling related in the background?
What? It's just a random auction on these things. And that was, I'm seeing why this was seen as an Australian pay-per-view, but I'm also seeing that this was a total waste of it. There's no reason this was not on the bargain bin at FYE for years. It's just not very good.
Oh, yeah, when I come back, I'll say, later SmackDown on Saturday ass.
Well, here comes Spain.
We have the main event and our first person, Michael Lyon.
And Brock Lesnar, the next big thing, being accompanied by his agent, Paul Heyman.
I was about to say,
Yeah. Well, this
How many
was
plays?
back before Brock Lesnar was a force of nature and more when people were just, really, this guy's going to be the star? And you could see the difference on this one where there was almost this feeling that Brock Lesnar was an over-pushed Haas who wasn't going to do anything, because this was 2002 and people thought that you weren't a good wrestler unless you were an X Division cruiserweight. So
and Brock Lesnar, having won the 2002 King of the Ring, gets an automatic title shot at SummerSlam, but first he could possibly win it early.
yes, because you have to hype up this title shot by giving him a title shot. We'll ignore the fact that he did that with Taz.
And it is time to play the game.
And you can tell this was a very specific dated time because people were cheering Triple H in 2002.
Well, I think he was a face at this point in time. He might have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was from when he came back after tearing his quad to when he won when he, I think,
attacked Shawn
turned
Michaels
on Shawn, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had like a sort of doing promos thing where Triple H is like, you can't wrestle anymore, and then Shawn's like, well, I'm not gonna wrestle, I'm gonna fight.
Yeah, but that's perfectly normal. You aren't a good wrestler on a promo counter with, great, this isn't going to be a wrestling match, it's going to be a fight, and I can fight better than you. It was just good old-fashioned wrestling. But even then, it does go to the question here on it, with Triple H at this time and the Undisputed title. I'll say it, hot take, there was nothing wrong with Triple H being awarded the World Heavyweight Championship.
I agree.
He was the number one contender to the Undisputed title on it. Brock Lesnar jumped to SmackDown, so he couldn't have his title match. And The Undertaker, who lost the match, was defected to SmackDown, and he was given the immediate number one contenders match with Lesnar. So, by any fighting bureau in the world, they would have said, okay, Lesnar's stripped because he refuses to defend against the number one contender. Triple H is the champion. That's perfect reason to say, okay, Triple H's World Heavyweight Champion works when he was awarded it.
Oh, certainly.
Close to 60,000 people live right here tonight in Melbourne. Going just for Triple H. They set platforms. The Global Warning Tour. Yourselves. The Undisputed Champ. That is right.
And we have the last member in this match, which makes it Brock Lesnar, Dwayne Johnson, and Triple H. In 2002, this was normal. In 2018, this would be Triple H's wet dream.
And here comes the Undisputed Champion, the Scorpion King, The Rock.
Yes, but as you can see, He is the Scorpion King. He's the 7-time champion. But he doesn't got a sword, too. So Booker T still has that advantage.
The other great belt that is no longer around.
Yeah. But you've got to understand, why have a good design of a title belt when you can have one that spins?
Ugh.
Yeah, I hate
Or that
that
has
title
your
belt.
logo branded front and center. So.
Like
Yeah.
if that title was just like an exclusive title for Cena, it would have been fine. But when you have guys like Randy Orton and Triple H holding it,
I can't believe that became like the design.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, like that, and that's my biggest gripe about the spinner is it went not just a Cena thing, like it went on and on. Like it was so. Oh, my biggest gripe about this.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, give it to champions who make sense with it. Like Rob Van Dam made sense by saying, this belt, it spins for why you keep it. The Miz makes sense because he flips it over and makes it an M. Braun Strowman would make sense because of his mixed match challenge partner.
A couple of times, like, yeah, I could see where it makes sense. But for as long as they kept that, and even after it doesn't spin anymore, it's just, that belt aggravates the shit out of me.
Yeah. And that's really the big problem of the 2000s as a whole. A title belt, it doesn't have to look great, but it has to look prestigious. It has to look something like something you'd hold. The spinner belt, even if you took out the spinner, it looked like a piece of bling bling. And that was
like was something my son would get at Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can't afford the actual WWE championship, but here's a knockoff I found at the dollar store. Here you go. Yeah. Like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah. It just looked like everything that was wrong with the 2000s in one belt.
Such a bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really the problem because, again, title belts shouldn't look dated. That's why I have no problems with the current era of them. They all look pretty good. They all look pretty timeless. They look like something you want to get in 1950. They look like something they'll still look good in 2050. That's what you want from a title belt.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it goes to the same thing for like Metallica's line in their movie about the making of Saint Anger when they said, no, don't give a guitar solo because that'll date it to the old century, to the 80s and 90s when they had guitar solos. And they said, well, if you don't have a guitar solo, that's going to date it to this century. That's going to date it to this decade. So, yes, so it's the same thing there.
Cody Rhodes winning Dusty Rhodes' original NWA championship. Like, that touched me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really what it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be something where you grow up dreaming of it. You don't grow up dreaming about having a belt that looks like you're a redneck rapper hipster.
Well, it's more beyond that.
Or a stoner. Because remember, Rob Van Dam wanted the WWE title because it's fun.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm just telling what the looks of it were.
Right.
Yeah, I think SK and I are on the, like, dude, if and everybody, like, the lineage of this and that, like the lineage of the current WWE Championship belt. Like, I get the lineage. That's not what, but Cody gaining the NWA Championship belt that actually looks like the NWA Championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that is better, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, and that's why it worked, because Cody Rhodes was the perfect NWA champion for the new Corgan NWA, because he sells the old school, he sells the new school. He makes it clear that this is a timeless title, and it's
yes, it's so much where you put the old school stuff with the new school. Like, okay,
Mhm.
transitions are happening,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we're one of the best pictures I've seen is Cody with the old school NWA, and not big gold belt,
Mhm.
but the old school NWA, little bitty belt.
Mhm.
In today's comparison,
The 10 pounds of gold, as they call
Yep.
it.
yeah, like that's something about that is just something. It does something to me. Like, oh,
Yeah, and that's really the point, because it is just a prop, but the prop needs to be sold like it matters. And when it seems timeless, you know how much it mattered to everyone who laced up the boots. You saw, this is the belt you drew pictures of when you were a kid dreaming of being a wrestler. It's the belt you set your sights on when you became a wrestler, and it's the belt you gave everything to hold.
I hope I'm conveying my words. So,
Mhm.
like, there's such a, and it's, to me, it's kind of a big thing, but at the same time, I see it as a small thing. Because
They talk about him hanging out with nobody. They showed pictures and video of him at Access for this event, signing autographs and being happy on it. So they
it,
even listened to their own show.
it's one of the smallest things that in wrestling should matter, but at the same time, being a wrestling fan for how long have I been? It's such a big thing. Like, to me, it's not that small to see, and I mean, let's not keep kayfabe. Like, it's not the original, but it looks like it is the original.
Mhm.
Like, that's a big thing that goes way far for me.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was just,
No problem.
I'm a Dusty fan, and how all that transpired. Like, I I'm marked out. Like, I didn't necessarily cry, but I may have started to tear up a little bit.
Mhm. Yep, and really that's one of the pluses, because, again, you have both the old school of Cody Rhodes holding the belt that Dusty held so well on it, and the new school of it's being held by Bullet Club.
Yeah. Oh, that could be a podcast in itself.
Mhm.
Of, and not just Cody, but just in general of Bullet Club holding IWGP. Oh my God! No, there's the symbolization, and that's what, yes, it is a problem, but it's also a symbol. And
Yeah.
anymore, like this, I think the symbol, yeah, the symbol or the prop of the belt has been lost on what it actually means.
Yeah. And honestly, that's the thing. A wrestling title's a prop, but it's a prop like the Maltese Falcon is a prop. It's a prop like the One
It
Ring.
means something.
It's the stuff that dreams are made of.
Yeah, it's the one thing that in the plotline, every character on the whole show is trying to get. It's not a prop, it's a MacGuffin.
Nerd.
By God, it's the move that ended Hulkamania.
And Triple H has been
bear
busted
hug.
wide open.
The bear hug.
Don't worry, he's just resting. That's what commentary tells us now. That's just a rest move. He's just resting. He's gonna come back.
Yep, and he's coming back. He's punching. He's punching.
Give that hand a spit. No?
And the super rookie is failing against the faces now, so.
Against the People's Champion.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the greatest, the most electrifying man in entertainment, the most talented celebrity out there. One half of the first black champion.
I don't know if Brock Lesnar is ready to go 1-on-1 with the Great One.
Well, he's locked in the weak sharpshooter now.
Yep.
That's why they call him the Scorpion King.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I'm surprised they called that one the Scorpion King Deathlock. That seems like something WWE would absolutely.
No matter what it gets said previous to now and after now, John won the pod.
Yeah.
And that's why they call it the Scorpion.
The
Triple
pedigree.
H is the pedigree.
That's it. It's gotta be it.
No, it's not.
1, 2.
And Brock Lesnar interrupts the pinfall at the last second.
Disqualify him, ref. Disqualify him.
They can't. Triple threat rules. No disqualification. No count out. Pinfall or submission. There must be a winner.
Yeah, honestly, that's surprising they never admit that in triple threat rules.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
And so they go.
Like,
this is my biggest issue of these kind of matches. They never bring it up until the fuck finish, or they bring it up the entire time during.
And the wrestlers never really
triple threat.
Yeah, you'd think they would actually just do something like, okay, you're disqualified or counted out. Great, it's a 2-man match now.
Hey, they not WWE per se, but it's happened.
I know there was one match at WrestleMania 9, the one with
Electrifying mover and all the entertainment.
The Hogan Beefcake versus Money Inc. match where
oh Lord,
Money Inc. was gonna go to the back because the whole win by count or lose by count out, but hold on to the titles thing. But then they announced that it was no DQ, and if they didn't get back to the ring, they would lose by forfeit. Try running that one through your head a couple of times.
They're still doing it to this day. I'm sure with Becky and Charlotte, with all of a sudden being announced as a no DQ is coming Tuesday. If it's not a no DQ, it's if Becky loses by DQ. Becky's
which is so unfair. It is so unfair. Charlotte cheated against Becky. Alexa Bliss cheated against Becky. No stipulation there. But the second that Becky turns the tables on Charlotte Flair, suddenly she gets that stipulation. It's completely unfair.
Oh my God!
Gone cold, I wonder why. Got out of bed at all.
Oh,
Am I wrong? Am I
No
wrong?
bias here. No bias. No
well,
bias.
we just had some
fighting
Dido here, so
I can't believe it. That's all I heard in the background. Was, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Somebody on commentary.
Triple H with his crimson mask.
Rock
Introduced a
bottom.
mini
Rock
version
bottom
of
on the game.
SummerSlam.
The Rock retains
And
the
The
Undisputed
Rock retains
Championship.
his title
Oh man.
because this was a fucking house show.
Yeah, and we don't know, at this time what happened at SummerSlam 2002. So 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks later.
But yeah, you watch this show again and you see how good Super Showdown was. I mean, sure, there were some weaknesses at Super Showdown. You had stuff like a 4-man lemon party in the ring because it was basically just The Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels having a circle jerk for a few minutes. But the rest of the show was good. There was
Wait
a lot.
Wait a minute here. Did you say a few minutes?
Few minutes.
That was
For
a
a
lot
long
longer than a few minutes.
Yeah.
A few minutes and my this went a lot longer than it should have minutes. My
Well, for that match, but like I was saying, everything else on Super Showdown was good. The Bar and New Day, they're not going to have a bad match for those ones. Charlotte and Becky, the DQ finish was kind of weak, but it was still a great match, like both could have.
Yeah.
Elias and Owens versus Lashley and Cena, that it was good for what it was for it.
Have we confirmed that it was Cena and not JBL?
I believe that this was basically Cena in his new role as a beleaguered dad on a family sitcom mode. Not JBL there, so
Not John Bradshaw Cena.
nope.
And Paul Heyman literally begging The Rock and Triple H for some mercy. I don't know if they'll accept it.
Yep. But continuing on with all of it, you had the tag team match was good. Iconics and Asuka and Naomi. We saw enough proof that maybe if the Iconics have a failing, they're playing out of position and they'd be better faces than heels. Styles Joe was good.
They're already faces in my eyes, but that's just me.
Riots versus Bellas and Rousey. The finish was kind of weird, but it made Rousey look badass. But you can't really totally hate it. Cedric and Murphy was a match of the year candidate, and the first time that you finally saw how good those guys were on a national scene. Dogs of War Shield was what it was. Miz Bryan may have been one of the weaker matches on the card, and that says something because it's Miz Daniel Bryan. So outside of that 4 match, it was not a bad show. And when you compare it to Global Warning, you see the differences are night and day.
Oh, definitely.
And I mean, and I haven't seen Super Showdown yet, but seeing as how this show is almost over, I didn't think it was that bad of a show. I mean, it was basically a glorified house show, and part of me wonders if this was even supposed to be broadcast anyway.
Get off the podcast.
I think most of them were just selling anything to make money on the home video circuit, because it was also the fall of VHS and the rise of DVD. So WWE was looking for more stuff on it, and they knew that fans would buy more stuff on it, because between those ones and the Triple H, the game one, tricking fans who hated Triple H into buying it by putting a classic Flair Steamboat match on, was proof that, wait a second, DVD might be very good for wrestling. And even this segment, it was a lot of over things, but this was also very dated in 2002, where house shows where the faces always tricked one of the goofy heels into thinking they were going to be on their side, but just destroying them so the fans left happy. So it was actually good for what it is to see this.
Right. I mean, it's a decent show. I think. I thought most of the matches were pretty good. I mean, there were a couple matches that were just kind of nothing special, but overall, I thought it was a decent show for what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look at this show if it was just a house show, then it was a pretty good house show. But on pay-per-view standards, if you look at shows like the Saudi Arabia show or the Australia shows as house shows, then this show looks like the C show.
That's where you have to differentiate between.
And Triple H hands The Rock another elbow to do his elbow drop, because this is the end of it, and there's always always things like this. So,
But I thought it was. My joke in my head just went completely south.
yeah.
Like, please don't do Rock and Triple H at WrestleMania.
Honestly, that's one of the pluses where I think that it's pretty clear that The Rock and Triple H are just business rivals enough so that they don't really have any interest in wrestling each other again. But they're just friendly enough that Triple H will let The Rock show up whenever he wants to.
Oh, yeah, that's a given. But I could just see if they put it at WrestleMania, like each other holds, and you know how they do their graphics now, like each other, like how much money did you make this year? And Triple H shows his check, and Rock shows his check, and you win. Like,
Yeah, but it seems like there was and now Triple H is doing the people's elbow. We remind you that if you ever wonder if it's a 2000s house show, there's always going to be things like this that show up.
Remind you all that Triple H cannot do a people's elbow, like, ever. Like, it's never happened.
Yeah.
The funniest part about people's elbow was when it came to fruition is him doing it on Undertaker as a joke. And it stuck.
And this is just 5 minutes of absolutely nothing that goes on. There was 6 minutes of just hanging out and showing and posing for the crowds on this one. That's that's just obscene. That's like the last time ever match obscene. So,
I mean,
was.
And that's what they do at house shows. Like, they pose all the time. They pose for quite a while.
Yeah. This was just one of those where you can see that WWE becoming more of a global company has made it better, because you look at last night's house show and it was very good. They had great matches. They had storylines leading to those matches. They actually had people from the same country as this one showing up in the match. And they weren't just there as charity cases. They deserve to be in the WWE. You can see that the globalization of WWE is working well, but it was just a few bugs that had to be worked out until then. So until then, that was this alternate commentary for Global Warning 2002. Does anybody have anything they want to plug?
Well, there's Ruthless Aggression Era podcast every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Just the one with Mox and Angel on WWE Originals, which was quite an episode to say the least.
This is a great podcast where Matt loves to make us watch and or listen to things of the past that we'd hope we would have lost from memory, but he loves to make us relive them.
Yeah,
So...
and this was actually this was the reason I wanted Metal Matt on this podcast, because Ruthless Aggression Era podcast is very good about the era that this show took place in.
Yeah.
So he's a great mind for the era that we're talking about here.
Don't forget, hashtag redheaded stepchild, because I would get the wars.
You got WrestleMania 19. I mean, you got that.
You keep referring to that. I have one time I got something good to review. One time.
We could have you. We could have you back for WrestleMania 2 so you can review Herb.
Yeah, this Friday is going to be a brand new episode. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I'm going to have the Saskatchewan Spin and Nerf Road, aka 5, as we talk Royal Rumble 2004.
The Rumble which nobody won. Very good choice.
Yes. A unique Royal Rumble, to say the least.
Indeed.
And Mox, to go with? Or anything else you want to plug, Mox?
I've lost it here for a second. Violent Wrestling Podcast. We're Wednesdays 10. Damn, Matt.
10 Eastern.
Yeah,
10
p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central.
I just went through all this. I feel because I try to remember all the times. My bad.
And then of course there's Whacked Out Wrestling's Thursday show with me, John, and Joey the Caveman taking place on it for more of the weekend wrestling. Until next time, see ya.
Thanks for joining. All right, see you later.